AskReddit. r/AskReddit by Reddify. Reddit. What is the fastest way you've seen a room full of happy people turn real ugly and sour? What happened? My time to shine. My band played a show at a CD bar in Myrtle Beach. After our set we were outside smoking as the next band was playing. From outside I felt the mood change. And when I turned to look back in the window I saw all the room lights were on and there was a full-scale brawl going on where there had been a regular set seconds ago. Turned out there was some drunk idiot who had broken a rear bottle and had been swinging it around in the pit and a girl got slashed in the arm. The people with the best viewpoint, the band playing, had immediately stopped playing and jumped off the stage to maul the guy. Dude actually gets out of the venue in one piece. But instead of fleeing like a regular asshole he decided to hide on top of a utility van in the parking lot like an extra stupid asshole. Which resulted in an annoyed and almost amused cop standing next to it saying get down. Get down. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. Somebody once told me. My cousin was hitting on the waitress the entire night at his Sweet 16 party. Just got a Beamer. How about you come roll with me? And you're the best gift my daddy bought me all night. That type of thing. After he ordered his filet mignon well done, I turned to him and said, you know, she's gonna spit on your meat, right? They call that foreplay where I'm from. And that is where we all drew the line. I was the first to file out of the meeting room and into the main dining hall and soon everyone else followed, leaving my cousin to celebrate his Sweet 16 alone. I mean, come on. What kind of pinot does a steak well done? What kind of pinot does a steak well done? A good well done steak will taste better than a rare steak. Not only that, but you can add ketchup for flavoring too. To wash it down you can have some wine mixed with G8 soda and you got yourself a 5-star dinner. I'm cringing. Stop PLZ. Christmas party. About 30 friends, but mostly family gathered at our house. I was just a kid. Argument. Daddy slaps mama in front of everyone. This reads like an old country song. Twanty country voice. Christmas party. 30 friends. Time of year to make amends. But all that healing's been undone. Since daddy slapped mommy in front of Eva Ian. Strumming. Edit. He did not use a backhand. Though my uncle'd swear he did. Sister says it was open palm. My brother just shut his lid. Grandma was too busy cooking turkey. Grandpa just sat unappraised. He said that's just how they did things. Back in the good old days. Now the kids all cried and just about died. 'Cause they'd missed out on Christmas fun. But that's what happens when daddy slaps mommy in front of guitar flourish. Everyone. Gender reveal party. They had the ultrasound the day before. A mutual friend cooked a huge meal and all friends and family were invited to eat and find out the gender of the baby. Opened the box, pink balloons pop up, and everyone cheered. But right away they told us the baby was very sick and would not likely make it full-term man. If it did, would be severely deformed and wouldn't likely survive the first 24 hours. They told us they decided to terminate the pregnancy. From cheers and high fives to crying hugs of support. We were shocked that it was announced that way, but what were they going to do? Cancel the gender reveal party and have to repeat the circumstances over and over? Story has a happy ending. They tried again. And now my wife and I are godparents. I feel a deformed fetus cake would be very easy to make. The box could be filled with half-inflated balloons. I was on a tour of Santorini. The last event for the day was taking a real looking pirate ship out to a natural hot spring where you could jump in. The boats kept smoking and malfunctioning and we were sent back to shore twice. We waited for over an hour. Finally they had to cancel the whole excursion. But they had to make the announcement in 4 different languages. I literally watched the disappointment hit the crowds and waves. The Germans groaned. Then the French. Then the Greek. And finally my one language speaking brain got the message. I still feel cheated out of my pirate hot tub experience. I was just about to ask what language you speak before I realized that I'm an idiot. It's Icelandic. Isn't it? We were at a Christmas party last year when one of the guests slapped the host's 9-year-old son hard on the face because he started telling the other younger kids that Santa wasn't real in front of everyone. That caused people to leave immediately or to take sides in an argument over whether he should have done that to the kid. Hang on. There was legit an argument about whether or not it's permissible to assault a 9-year-old child in his own home. I know I should be really angry, but TBH, I just want to know what on earth they thought could justify that. I mean, I get at least thinking it was justified. Everyone is always trying to let kids keep believing in Santa, and some people take that kind of seriously. Had a 40-years-old patient come into the ER in cardiac arrest. CPR in progress. Intubated. The whole shebang point. If you've never seen this happening in real life, it's a pretty crazy scene. Basically, a few firefighters, paramedics and EMTs come crashing through the bay doors and are met by a gang of doctors, nurses and techs who then crowd into a small room together and transfer the part from one gurney to another. From there it's coordinated chaos. Medics giving reports, docs giving orders, nurses starting fourths on any place they can find, techs hooking up monitors and switching out on CPR, etc. It's nuts. Family will follow shortly behind, so we try to set up a few chairs behind the curtains for them to sit in so they don't pass out or get in the way. Anyways, this patient's son was brought back to the room. We had the curtains closed. Patient usually ends up naked, so someone pulled a chair up for him. It is intensely scary to see people poking, prodding and thumping on your loved one's chest, so we don't open the curtain unless they ask us to. We worked the part up for a while, but she wasn't responding, so our doc called time of death and walked out of the room. The techs stay in the room with the body. We clean up and normally remove whatever interventions, fourth, et tubes, monitors, unless it's a coroner's case, as in, needs a post-mortem done to find out the cause of death. This patient was young and healthy, so we needed to wait for the coroner to come get her, which meant everything stays on. Even the monitors. We clean up a bit, so family can come back to say goodbye, but when I go to tell the son, he is already gone. Apparently another tech directed him to a private waiting room we use for family of critical patients. I go to the room, where 7 or 8 family members have now gathered, to tell them they can come back to see the patient now. To my surprise, everyone seems pretty upbeat, teary-eyed but hopeful. That's when I hear a snippet of the phone conversation one of them is having. She says something like she's going to be okay. Her heart is beating again. Duck. Apparently the son mistook the pulseless electrical activity showing on the monitor as meaning she was still alive, and when we stopped CPR he ran off to update his family. Another family member asks me how is she doing, when can we see her, and I freeze up immediately. Techs do not make death notifications. Doctors do. So I had to back out of the room to find the doc who could tell them the bad news. Oh my point, God. That room went from hopeful to heartbreaking in a second flat. I had to walk away. The looks on their faces were unbearable. I avoid having to fetch family like the plague now. TL. Doctor family thought their loved one had regained a heartbeat and survived cardiac arrest. Had to crush them by telling them that she was actually already dead. You win. When I was studying in driving school, last day of theory, everyone was real happy that the studies were over. And we take the school exam, obligatory before DMV exam, and only 2 people passed it out of a 30 people group. Anger and sadness was all around. When I was active in my addiction, one person overdoses and it gets real. I don't mean this in a humorous way at all. Everyone is afraid to call 911 in the fear of getting in trouble. Has anyone actually gotten in trouble because they called for a friend overdosing? Not in my experience as an EMT. But I could be wrong. Well, I had a friend get arrested cause their so left a bong and some seeds out on the coffee table. And the cops/Ms were there cause we'd had to call in that same suicide attempt/threats. So I think it kinda just depends on who you're dealing with and where you are. Around 12 years ago, I had been working behind the bar at my local rugby club. One of the regulars was having his 40th birthday in the function room. He'd invited a bunch of people from the next town over who always had a rugby rivalry. The night had been going fine till around 9:30, when a minor scuffle broke out in the middle of the room. We were flat out at the bar and our boss was nowhere to be seen, so couldn't stop to see. About half a minute later she legged it back to the bar screaming to pull the shutters and stop serving, as the whole room had erupted into a mass brawl. I remember looking up to see a current, at the time, rugby international who was a friend of the birthday boy and from the town we were in, trying to throw people away from each other unsuccessfully. I was working with 2 other lads who played rugby, so anytime it kicked off we could handle it reasonable well. But not this time. Needless to say, police were called and we shut for the night whilst watching the carnage behind the shutters waiting for the coppers. So my old Welsh rugby teammate had a good story of his younger days travelling with his teammates back when he was wild. So after a tournament in Scotland, him and his teammates went to a raucous party and ended up running train on some girl from the countryside. Afterwards there's an award banquet and he's telling a player from the host club about this freaky chick who went down on him and half his teammates. Rugby clubs aren't small, mind you. He's mid-story when she walks into the banquet and he excitedly shouts out, "There she is." The other rugger looks up and says, "That's my sister." It got awkward real quick, right up until the brother declares, "Oh, right. She's like that with everybody." Watching 9/11 happen live at the office completely ruined Toby's birthday party. Toby doesn't deserve a birthday party. He's the absolute worst. KFC ran out of chicken. The KFC across from the buffet restaurant where I worked would run out weekly. Then my boss would sell them chicken for $250 a case, more than double price. This went on for a while until they fired the KFC manager. Bonus point to your boss for spotting the market opportunity. I did a Wendy's run to buy the gang a few Baconators to get home and realized they didn't put bacon on any of them. Number the darkness in this world runs deeper than we thought. For some reason we were high and spent hours discussing how wearing black clothes makes you die. Flatmate comes in wearing black clothes. Sadness. Was the roommate part of the Dark Brotherhood and you realized people in black actually are the killers and not the victims? Someone called in a bomb threat at my school several years ago during a faculty meeting. The teachers went into full panic mode, screaming at each other cause they had no idea what to do. 1 second everything was perfectly fine. Then the room exploded. Figuratively. It didn't actually blow up. Damn, we had drills at school for this though. It was IRA era and we were near an army base. I live in a small town where absolutely nothing happens. So this set off a few switches that haven't been switched on before. In a bar many years ago. No idea what the issue was. But 2 guys got into an argument. One mental giant decided it would be cool to end the argument by breaking a rear bottle and threatening the other guy with the broken end. Mood of the entire place changed instantly. Upvote for mental giant. Upvote for upvote. My friend's grandmother died just after midnight on New Year's a few days ago. That party turned sour real ducking quick. She was in the front room and bed. I don't mean to sound insensitive, which I probably will be. But dying in bed next to your loved ones all festive and joyful sounds like a great way to go. I wish I would die like that. Hope your friend's okay. Yeah. When I die I want to ruin a party too. Last October I was at a burlesque show. Super happy fun time burlesque. They tour the US and are brilliant. It's a very racy show. Everyone is having fun. Right up until they do jokes about the US election and specifically Donald Trump. Suddenly people start yelling and heckling. One guy actually tried to rush the stage and had to be restrained. Another guy started yelling that they were part of the Clinton conspiracy. The atmosphere turned so sour they almost had to call the police to calm things down. I found out later one member of the audience went to fetch a firearm from his truck and was kicked out of the venue. I talked to the performers and they said this happened through the entire tour. Nobody minded jokes about religion. Nobody batted an eyelid during a scene with babies being aborted, simulated. They were cuddly toys. Of course nobody cared about the attractive burlesque dancers showing their boobs. They laughed at the Clinton jokes. They laughed at the Obama jokes. The Trump jokes started. At almost every performance people went totally ballistic. Funnily enough, a few of the triggered Trump supporters came back at the end and apologized. Then we ended up having a pretty nice discussion about US politics and First Amendment rights with them. It was a weird evening. Burlesque show I went to last month had a lady come out in a white shirt and red tie, smearing Cheetos all over her face and throwing fake money around. People seemed to enjoy it. But I guess Boston is a fairly safe place to do that. Haha.